Hi there, my name is Will. I'm a Doctor of Physical Therapy student here at Regis University. With me is Catherine. Today I'm going to be assisting her to conduct the Astrand submaximal aerobic exercise test. As I said, this is a submaximal test, so we're going to be using this data to help estimate her VO2 max. She's currently in the warm-up phase with a workload of about 25 watts and a cadence of about 50 RPM. She's been at this phase, or in this phase, for about 2 to 3 minutes. So we are going to bump her up to about 100 watts for her workload, and that's the recommended value for a well-conditioned female, which is where we got that value from. All right, how's that feeling?
It's good. It's
Okay.
got pedal harder.
Okay, yeah, that's the point. All right, so there's some data that we want to get before we even start one of these tests. One of those is exercise history. So I chatted with Catherine before this. She's super active. She's a yogi, a cyclist, a runner, and a lot more, a skier. And so she's getting about 12 hours per week of physical activity. So she's definitely meeting those minimum physical activity minimums. She's at a low risk stratification for cardiovascular disease. She has no signs or symptoms of renal, metabolic, or cardiovascular disease, nor does she have any family history or history herself. So that means she's at a low risk stratification, which is good. I also made sure to take her vitals before we got started. So her heart rate, resting heart rate, was 56 beats per minute, and her blood pressure was 106/78. So those are super healthy values. There's really no red flags or reasons why we would want to not start the test. So with that, we will jump into taking some initial values here, Catherine. Heart rate followed by blood pressure, if that's all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do heart rate first. I'm just going to have your palm open like that. Thank you, Catherine. So for her heart rate, I got 32 in that 15-second interval, so that would be 128. And now I'll go ahead and take her blood pressure. And you can actually put, Catherine, your arm sort of over my shoulder here. Uh-oh. Good job. How are you feeling so far? Let's see if I can swing this back around here. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Let's see if that stays. Alrighty. So for her blood pressure, I got 128/80. And Catherine, if you were to rate your rate of perceived exertion here on the scale, what would you say?
Somewhat hard.
Somewhat hard. All right, so these increases are normal from her resting values, and your heart rate's within that submax range, so that's great. So we will go ahead and take heart rate and blood pressure again at minutes 5, and then again the heart rate at minute 6. So until then, I'm going to chat a bit more about some of the goals of the test today and some of the things we did to help you get on this bike here. So I was able to estimate her max heart rate as 181 beats per minute using her age, and then calculate her submax range, which is 109 to 154 beats per minute. And for fit purposes, we want to make sure she's safe on the bike here, so we made sure to get the seat height in line with her greater trochanter. And Catherine, the goal for our steady state test today is within those minutes 5 and 6, getting those heart rate readings. We want 2 heart rate readings within 5 beats per minute, as well as within that submax range. There are some things that we want to take into account as far as when we want to start or stop the test. So if your systolic had been over 200 or your diastolic had been over 110, that we wouldn't have even wanted to start the test. And if during the test your blood pressure goes up to 250 for systolic, 250 or 115 for diastolic, we would also want to stop the test then. As well as if you're experiencing any sort of adverse signs or symptoms, if you're not feeling good, we want to stop the test there as well. Okay, so we are getting close to that 6-minute mark here, so we will go ahead, or 5-minute mark, excuse me. So we will go ahead and take heart rate again here. Thank you. Catherine? Sorry, this is unwieldy. Alright. So I got 34 in that 15-second interval, so that is about 136 for heart rate at minute 5. And Catherine, your RPE again here?
Oh, still somewhat hard.
Somewhat hard. Blood pressure. And if you could just get your arm on my shoulder here. Catherine. All right. For that second blood pressure reading, Catherine, I got 140 over 80, which is again normal value. And I will go ahead again and take heart rate. So I got 34 there, Catherine. So that's 34 times 4, 136, which is compared to your initial, or your 5-minute at 1. They're both 136, fantastic. So that is definitely within your, that 5 beats per minute range which we're looking for, which is great news. So this means we can begin the cool down portion of your test. So I'll bump this back down here. And basically this is going to be about 25 watts back down to that lower workload, 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm going to again check heart rate, blood pressure, and RPE again to ensure that normal response that we're going to hopefully be getting. And what we're looking for is a decrease in your systolic as well as your heart rate in that phase. Any questions for me?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. You did great. Thanks for doing the test, and come back anytime.
Thanks.